Hi, it's Janet Morena, Executive Director of Prees for Life. Welcome to our show today. Well, I hope you like that. How much is that doggy in the window? You know, I remember that song first sung when I was a little girl by Patti Page. So I found this other version because of copyright. I couldn't have played the Patti Page version, but if you want to see it, just Google it on YouTube and you'll see it. I remember that song when I was a little girl, and I wanted a puppy so bad. I really wanted a puppy. Eventually, I remember my parents telling me for my 13th birthday, I got my first dog, and he was a beagle named Jamie. But I just thought talking about puppies and dogs, and before the end of the show, I'm going to introduce you to my newest puppy. You're going to get to meet him on camera and some of my other dogs. But first, I thought it would be fun to also introduce you to a beautiful children's book written by, of course, our Anthony DeStefano, who is part of our administrative team here at Prees for Life. And this book is called The Puppy That Nobody Wanted. Can you imagine a puppy that nobody wanted? I mean, I think you just look at puppies and you fall in love. But let's take a look right now at Anthony's book, The Puppy That No One Wanted. And then we come back, we're going to talk about puppies and dogs. And if you got a picture of your dog, share it with me. You got a puppy or dog experience, tell me about it, and we'll talk about all our fun things about puppies when we come right back. So let's listen to The Puppy That Nobody Wanted. All right. So by the
Hi, kids. I'm Anthony DeStefano, and this is my friend, Gianni. Gianni belongs to a lady I know and work with named Janet, and the reason why I'm holding him is because he looks a little bit like a puppy in a book I wrote that I'd like to read to you right now. It's called The Puppy That No One Wanted, and it's about a scraggly little dog that just doesn't fit in, a dog that can't seem to find a home of his own. Now, after I finish reading, I'll be back with Gianni to say a few words to you adults who are watching too, because this book isn't just for kids. The Puppy That No One Wanted. Once upon a time, there was a poor, mangy, smelly little puppy. He was the runt of the litter, and from the moment he was born, he was cast aside and forced to live on his own. Many days, he would wander through the muddy streets of town, cold and hungry, looking for something to eat. But wherever he went, people gave him nasty looks and yelled, "Get out of here, you dirty mutt! There's no food for you here." Still, he managed to be a cheerful puppy. He survived on whatever scraps he could find and never lost hope that one day he would find a home. At night, he slept in an alley with the other stray dogs. Some of them were old and sick, and in the winter they all huddled together for warmth. Often, the puppy would try to lift their spirits by making them laugh. When he fell asleep, the puppy always had the same dream. He dreamed about running through a beautiful open field of flowers under a warm, sunlit sky. And of course, he dreamed about food, lots of food. When he woke up, he was always starving. The other dogs would be hungry too, but they were too weak to go looking for food, so the puppy would have to go off alone. One day, after searching for hours and being chased away by many people, his nose caught a whiff of something delicious. It was coming from the home of the town butcher. It smelled heavenly, and the puppy just had to find out what it was. So he sneaked into the house and saw the butcher sitting at his kitchen table having lunch. The puppy's mouth watered as he watched the man eating a juicy steak. Slowly, the puppy crept through the man's legs and under the table. There were a few scraps on the floor, and the puppy hungrily ate them. If only the man would drop some more food, the puppy hoped. Suddenly, the man stopped eating. "What is that awful smell?" he yelled. Then he looked down and shouted, "Why, you dirty, stinky mutt. What are you doing under my table? Get out of here before I make dog stew out of you." The butcher tried to kick the puppy, but he managed to escape through the window. He ran as fast as he could down the street, but the butcher threw the steak bone at him, barely missing his head. Just then, the puppy had an idea. He turned around and stuck his tongue out at the butcher and started barking at him, making him even madder. The butcher threw another bone at him, and then another, and another. Every time a bone came flying at him, the puppy dodged out of the way. Soon, the man got tired of throwing bones and slammed his window shut, yelling, "Don't you ever come back here again, you smelly little runt." The puppy looked around at all the bones on the ground. He had enough food to last him a whole week. But just as he was about to start eating, he remembered his friends, the stray dogs in the alley. He thought about how old and sick they were. So instead of eating the bones himself, he tied them together with a rope and began to haul them up the road. The load was heavy, and the puppy had to use his mouth to hold one end of the cord and carry the big bundle of bones on his back. After struggling for 6 long hours, he finally arrived at the alley. The other dogs couldn't believe all the food he had brought. They were so hungry that they dove past the puppy and onto the pile of bones, devouring it as fast as they could. The puppy just watched as they ate and ate, and when they were finished, there wasn't a trace left. As soon as they were done eating, the dogs fell asleep, happy and satisfied. But the puppy was still starving. Even though he was exhausted, he had to go out again to search for food. And to make matters even worse, it had started to rain. Walking through the streets of the town in the pouring rain, the puppy was sad and wet and cold. Everything was so muddy. There wasn't a crumb of food to be found anywhere. Just then, at the end of the road, the puppy saw some light coming from the window of a small house. He climbed up and peered inside. What he saw made his heart beat faster. For inside was a family seated around a table. There was a man, his wife, and a little boy, and they were having dinner. The puppy watched as they said a prayer and began eating. The house seemed so toasty warm. Looking closer, he saw that a piece of hot, crusty bread had fallen onto the floor next to the boy's feet. Taking a chance, the puppy jumped to the ground and sneaked into the house. When no one was looking, the puppy darted across the floor. Trying not to make a sound, he quickly ate the bread. Then he waited to see if any more crumbs would fall. But before he had a chance to eat anything else, the man above him said, "What is that awful smell?" Now I'm in trouble, the puppy thought. When he looked up, he saw the little boy staring at him. "It's a puppy who's trying to eat scraps from the table," the boy said. Then, lifting him up, he asked, "What's the matter, little dog? Haven't you eaten anything today?" The puppy wanted to tell the boy how hungry he was because he had given all his food away. But since he couldn't talk, he just yelped. The boy looked at him strangely and smiled, as though he somehow understood. Then the boy's mother said, "He's a very smelly pup. Let's get him cleaned up." So she put some warm, soapy water into a large wooden basin and handed the puppy to the boy, who started to wash him. Afterward, the woman gave the puppy a huge plate of food. The puppy couldn't believe how tasty it was. While he was eating, the man said, "He can stay here tonight because of the storm, but tomorrow we'll have to decide what to do with him." That night, the puppy slept in bed with the little boy. He watched the boy say his prayers and then snuggled up next to him. Imitating the boy, the puppy said a short prayer of his own. Please, God, let me stay here with this nice family. Then he drifted off to sleep. And he slept and slept and slept. He dreamed all night about the field of flowers. He was still sleeping when morning came, and he heard the boy's voice. Rise and shine, little dog. It's time to wake up. The puppy wondered what was going to happen to him. Would he be thrown out again, like all the other times in his life? Would he be cast aside and forgotten? But the boy just looked at him and said, "Follow me." So the puppy got up and trotted behind the boy and the man as they left the house and started walking down the road. Soon, they came to a small shop on the edge of town. "This is our workshop," the boy said. "My father is a carpenter, and I'm learning to be one too. And guess what, my little friend? You're going to work here too. My parents decided this morning that from now on, you can stay with us." The puppy couldn't contain his excitement. He started jumping up and down, yelping for joy. Could it really be that he finally had a home? The boy showed him the shop. It was full of tools and nails and interesting things made of wood. The puppy looked around in amazement. Imagine all the wonderful things that could be made here, he thought. In back of the shop was a door that led to a yard. When the puppy went through, his eyes opened wide, for behind the shop was a huge open field of flowers. He sat there for a long time looking at the flowers and the rolling hills and the sparrows flying high above in the sunshine. The boy patted his head softly. "It's a field of lilies," he said. "Isn't it the most beautiful thing you've ever seen?" The puppy just nodded and licked the boy's hand. And from that moment on, the puppy lived with the family and was happy. The man and the boy even built a cozy row of little dog houses besides the field of flowers for all the dogs in the alley, so they would never be cold again. And forever after, the puppy belonged to the little boy. And he was the best, most faithful servant that any boy or girl could ever have. Did you like that? I know Gianni did. He's been listening the whole time quietly like a good puppy. You know, kids, the meaning of this story is very simple. Just like the puppy that no one wanted, sometimes we can feel lonely and left out, and even unloved. When that happens, you have to remember that God always loves you, no matter what. And he always wants to welcome you into his life with open arms. And that's true for us adults too. At one time or another, all of us have felt isolated and abandoned. Hey, it's easy to feel like a scraggly, smelly puppy that nobody wants. It's easy to feel like an outcast in life. But no matter how lost we might feel, what we must never forget is that we can always find our true happiness, our true fulfillment, and our true home in God. I'm Anthony DeStefano, and I'll see you next time. Gianni, say goodbye to all these nice boys and girls. Say goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed that. Welcome back. And here for you is Gianni. That's right. Gianni is my Shih Tzu. Gianni is 9 years old. And Gianni wants to tell you, if you'd like to get your own copy of The Puppy That Nobody Wanted, you can do that by simply going to our online store, prolifeproducts.org. We would love to get you a copy of The Puppy That Nobody Wanted, written by Anthony DeStefano. It's a great book, as you just saw. And Gianni, of course, gives it a paw of approval. So here's the story about Gianni. Gianni, I got 9 years ago. I already had his brother Giorgio, right, Gianni? Yes. And what happened was about a year and a half ago, Gianni's brother Giorgio passed away, which made Gianni very, very sad, right? So I went about 3 months. Everyone was saying to me, "Poor Gianni, he must be so lonely, Janet. Are you going to get another Shih Tzu?" I was like, oh, I don't know. So I started looking on the internet, and before long, I found a breeder right here in Florida, and I kind of looked, around, and suddenly there was a picture of a puppy that was available. Well, I fell in love at first sight. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this puppy, and this puppy will be a companion for Gianni. Okay, so in a minute now, I'm going to have someone come over. I'm going to put Gianni down. Okay, enough is the star of the show here, Gianni. We're going to put you down here. I have to actually put him in his case. Otherwise, he might chew on the wires. And next out is going to be my newest addition to the family here is Lorenzo. And here's the dog that I saw on the internet. And actually, Lorenzo's parents are champion Shih Tzu show dogs. That's what they are. Champion Shih Tzu show dogs, right, Lorenzo? Give mommy kisses, yes. So, okay, so the plan seemed to work, but there was a problem. Look, see how wiggly Lorenzo is? Yes. So the problem I had was now I had a 9-year-old dog and this Pepper here of Lorenzo. As you see, he's going to just squirm around. So he doesn't sit like Gianni does. Okay, now maybe he will. Come on. You got to be a good boy. You have to be a good boy. So poor Gianni was like, can you get this little kid out of here, Mom? So I called the breeder where I got Lorenzo. And I said, by any chance, his mommy's Cleo, is she going to have another litter soon? And the breeder said, Janet, your timing is perfect because she just gave birth to 3 puppies, 2 boys and a girl. So Lorenzo, what did happen? What did mommy do? What did mommy do? She said, I'm going to take one of the little boys for Lorenzo, right? For Lorenzo. Yes. And actually the puppies were born the day before my birthday. They were born October 17th. And of course, my birthday is October 18th. And I just picked up the puppy last night, right, Lorenzo? Lorenzo is still getting used to having a little brother. And it's kind of funny to watch because now the puppy is kind of getting Lorenzo to play. And Lorenzo's like running around going, oh, this kid is, he wants to play with me. Meanwhile, Gianni is clapping his paws because now Gianni can lay in his bed and neither Lorenzo nor the puppy bothered Gianni. So he is extremely happy. So in a minute, I'm going to put down Lorenzo. I'm going to put Lorenzo down. Okay, you're going to go back in your case and I'm going to bring out now the new addition to the Marana family. Go ahead, Lorenzo, in your case. Come on. And there you go. Okay, there he goes. And now, lo and behold, I'm going to bring it up here. And we're going to see the brand new puppy. And his name is Alfredo. So we have 3 Italian dogs. We have Gianni. And we have Lorenzo. And here we have our brand new baby. And look at his little tail wagging. This is Alfredo. Right, Alfredo? And so far, he slept. How many of you had puppies? You know what it's like, right? Sometimes they cry through the night, right? When you first get a new dog. Well, he did really good last night. I put him in the crate next to my bed, and he didn't whimper at all. He was very good, and he slept through the night. And then this morning, when he got up, he peed where he was supposed to on his little pad in his playpen. And I brought him here to Priest for Life to work. So all 3 of the dogs are here today. Sometimes I do bring them to work, and sometimes they stay home. But with Alfredo being such a baby, I think I'll bring the dogs all to work so that they can have fun. Right, Alfredo? What do you think? Yeah, enjoying all this? So I'd like to hear from you. How many of you have puppies? You have dogs? I mean, I just love them. And people thought I was crazy for getting a 3rd Shih Tzu. And I said, well, you know what? The dogs are company for each other besides me. What I also like about the Shih Tzu breed is, here's a good point. Guess what? They don't shed. The Shih Tzu's hair is kind of like people's hair. And so therefore, see, there's no shedding. And also, for people who are allergic to dogs, they're a great breed because their dander is not the kind of dander that makes people who are allergic to dogs have problems. Oh, here, this is Melanie. She says, I'm a Frenchie, understanding completely. No need language when you speak from your heart. That's right. And doggies really help you speak from your heart, don't they? They're also very consoling. I heard that that actually dog sales were up all during the pandemic because people were stuck at home and couldn't get out. And what better way to have companionship than to have a new puppy? Because you're stuck at home anyway to train, right? Right. Look how nice he snuggles. And Alfredo, right? Alfredo? Yeah. But to go back to the Shih Tzu breed for a minute, so for people who are allergic to dogs, they're great. And then the other thing is, see how their disposition is very calm and peaceful. They're also not yappy dogs. Sometimes some small dogs go yap, 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 yap. No, Shih Tzus have a nice bark. You hear it, but it's not too loud. Like it's a nice little woof woof. So they're really pleasant dogs. I've actually had Shih Tzus for a very long time. I got my first Shih Tzu, oh my gosh, must be almost 20 years ago. Oh no, let's see, was it less than that? Yeah, it was more than 20 years ago. I got my first Shih Tzu, and I really love them. Okay, so Irma says, I have 3. My youngest is 2 years old. My oldest is 12 years old. We had the same problem where the older said the same thing. Get this kid out of here. That's right, Irma. That's right. So I think now, Alfredo is going to be the secret recipe here because Lorenzo will run around, as you saw how much bundle of energy he is, and Alfredo will be able to meet his match there with that energy, And also, too, Lorenzo had a sister as part of the litter. Well, the breeder kept Madison because to groom her and train her to be a show dog. She's already won some awards. So Lorenzo's and also now this guy here, Alfredo, their parents are champion show dogs in the Shih Tzu category. And so far, Madison is making her mark or her paw to be a champion show dog too. And we have another comment. Heidi says, I just don't like all the long fur. Oh, well, see, that's the thing. I don't know if you noticed Gianni's and Lorenzo. I keep what they call it like a puppy cut. With Shih Tzus, you can keep their hair short. And in fact, you shouldn't keep it long unless you're really going to be dedicated to brushing them multiple times a day. Really, Shih Tzus belong with long hair if they're going to be shown as show dogs. But if not, short hair is the best. And right now, Alfredo looks a little puffy only because he's a puppy. And he hasn't gotten what they call his first puppy cut, right? Your first puppy cut. But his first puppy cut will be in another 2 weeks. That he'll be old enough to have his first puppy cut. And then the groomer will start to get his hair ready to be, on the short side. So he's not going to have that long, long hair like you see Shih Tzus with. Again, those are the show dogs. All right, we have Bobby says, I've always had multiple dogs. Currently, 2 Jack Russells and Chihuahua mixes, and a 13-month litter mates, Jake and Maggie. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, litter mates are kind of cute, right? Aren't they? Well, although Alfredo and Lorenzo aren't litter mates, but they are true brothers. They come from the same parents, and he was the second litter, and Lorenzo was the first. What's the matter? You want to say hi to everybody? Here, let's put you up on camera. Here, look, smile. Smile, Alfredo. There he goes. There he is. So what do you think of the name Alfredo? Do you notice all 3 of my dogs have real names? Like Gianni, Lorenzo, and Alfredo. Little Italian names, real little names for my 3 little boys. Well, I just want to remind you, let's see, do Shih Tzus get along with cats? Well, you know what? I think the answer is probably more yes than no, because one of the girls on staff here, she actually has a dog. He's half Shih Tzu and half Chihuahua, and she's actually a real cat lover, but she also fell in love with this puppy. And basically, his name is Loki, and he has, let's see now, 2 cats, I think, in the house, and he does fine with them. At first, they do that little, where they check each other out, and they kind of look, this and that. But Loki's doing fine with the cats. In fact, she had one older cat, and then she just got a set of kittens. So she's got her hands full, but Loki's kind of enjoying playing, and the cats are getting used to him. So I think it's how you introduce the pets to each other. First of all, I wouldn't leave them alone by themselves together for a very long time. keeping them separate, only together when you're there to, kind of supervise the activity that they do. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little takeoff of our usual program. I just thought, something to cheer us up. Puppies always make us feel good. And Alfredo wanted you to meet him, see how he's doing. Okay. And I just want to remind you all, like I showed you earlier, about that great book from Anthony that we read at the very beginning, The Puppy That Nobody Wanted. And you can get a copy of this book by just going to our online store, prolifeproducts.org. And while you're up there, you'll also see some great books written by Father Pavone, myself, Alveda King, Teresa and Kevin Burke, our whole team. So if you want to get more involved in the pro-life movement and you want to have some more information, again, go to prolifeproducts.org. And we also have a great collection of t-shirts. So thank you for joining us, and tune in to our program tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to do some more talking about getting healthy in the new year. So for now, this is Janet Marana, the Executive Director of Priests for Life. God bless.